Hey guys, what's up? Eddie Aho here at KissAnalog.com. Today, I was doing a box opening and kind of had some camera failure, so unfortunately missed the big coolness. When I opened up this box, it opened up just perfectly to show the label of what was inside. I thought that was pretty cool. Anyway, so I've already opened it now, but yeah. An Owon Oscilloscope. Don't need her. Well, I don't really need another scope, but I wanted to get this to do some videos on. It has some really deep memory, 40 meg, but it also has this 12 bits. It actually goes to, I've got the version that goes to 14 bits. So I kind of went top-ish line, 75,000 frames per second, pretty darn fast. Has a touchscreen. We'll see if I like that or not. And got it with Wi-Fi and a battery. So I think the battery's really cool. Makes it isolated. So when I need that, I can switch to battery. That'll be really cool. So I still really enjoy my Siglant. In fact, I like it more than my much more expensive scope at work, which probably close to 20 grand. My Siglant, I think, kicks its butt. I mean, yeah, it's not quite as fast. I think the one there's 5 giga samples and 5, I don't know, it's really fast. But for everyday use, doing power supply work, yeah, I kind of miss my Siglant when I'm at work. So I didn't get the old one because I wasn't happy with that. I got it because of the 14 bits. I want to see what that does. Now, to get 14 bits in another scope, you got to spend, I think, 15,000, 20,000. If anybody knows of a lesser expensive scope, I'd like to know. I think Roland Schwartz makes one, but I believe it's got to be around 15 grand. Maybe it's down around 10. But anyway, this thing, much less expensive, really high-end specs for about, I think it's around 1,200 bucks. So still kind of expensive, a lot more expensive than, more than twice my Siglant. But then again, you know, and along with these, you know, these things here, and then all this other coolness stuff. Now it's kind of funny because, well, here, let's put, well, it's called the N+1, and you know, I think it's because, you know, what do you call, it's a scope plus a bunch of other stuff, right? But today, scopes come with so many things that we just take as standard now, like FFT. That wasn't a standard option very long ago, and FFT is a super cool option. You don't have to go out and buy a network analyzer, spectrum analyzer. I mean, you do if you do a lot of that kind of work, but if you just want to use FFT, now I also think we don't use FFT near as much as we should, or we could, and we don't get as much information out of our scopes as we could, because it is kind of a new thing. It's become standard, yes, but I'm telling you, I think that a lot of people just don't use it, so, and myself included, so I'm trying to use it more, and I've got some video out, I think, on FFT. I've got one out showing how to do ripple voltage measurements. Anyway, let's pull this out. Oh, and you can see it comes very well packed. I cut all these bands off, which, yeah, it was, I just happened to open it from the bottom end, or from, I think that's the bottom end. Yeah, it's a looked like the bottom end of the box, and I did that because my shipping label was on the other side. So I just thought it was dumb luck that when I opened the box, ta-da, I had the front of the box showing. Now the back of the box shows some of the extras it comes with. It says equals N+1, a multimeter. Yeah, I've got one on my handheld oscilloscope, my Tektronix, and it definitely comes in handy when you're using a handheld scope because you're out in the field or you're doing something, and that's why you need a handheld. But by the way, I use that scope because it has isolated channels. Channel 1 and channel 2 are isolated from each other, as well as being isolated from power, of course, because it's battery operated. So it's really safe to use and really cool for power supplies when you want to read both the primary side power and the secondary side power. So that's really cool. This battery operated one gets me away from line power. That's really cool. It has, they call it a simometer. I'm not sure why they call it that. I don't know what differentiates that from just a normal counter, which is what I think it is. But I'll look into that, see if there's some reason that they, something that nomenclature says that it has that a normal counter wouldn't have. But see, there you go again, another thing. Counters, I think we kind of expect to see that in scopes today, because that's another one of those things that just seems standard, like FFT. So, when you're going to count the extras, where do you start? Do you start by the things that were not standard a few years ago? For somebody new in the market looking for a scope, they're thinking, hey, look, I get a counter, FFT. They start counting from there, where a lot of us that are used to seeing that now, it seems standard. So I think it's kind of genius marketing, actually, to call N and 1. They're not pigeonholing themselves or putting themselves in a hole or trying to claim something that somebody might say, hey, that's standard. Anyway, comes with all these things as well as the things on the front. Let's open this bad boy up. Well, let's see what else we got. It's a XDS3202A. Okay, let's see what it says here on this label. I don't know if you can see that. Maybe I'll try to hold it closer. Let me read it first. 2-channel, 25 megahertz, AWG. Oh, so this is the options I got with it. DMM, touchscreen, VGA, Wi-Fi, decoding, CAN, I2C, RS-232, SPI bus. So that was just all the extras that came with this one. I did that because I want to, want to demonstrate these on videos. So, hey, put my money where my mouth is, right? Trying to, let's see, I don't know if you see that. Put the light on it. I don't know. Let's try to focus on that. Yeah, you probably see it now. All right, well, let's see. You still focused? Okay. I'm gonna open this guy up. See what came inside this. Got all this unpacking stuff on me. Unpacking other things. I was unpacking things around the house. All right. Comes with a little plastic carry handle on top. All right. Okay, so let's just push the scope aside for a sec. Let's see what came in this box. There's a quality stamp on it, but that's about it. Oh, okay. Well, of course. Right. Scope probes. There's 2 probes, 2-channel. So by the way, I said kind of top line-ish because I went with 2-channel instead of 4, because I wanted all those extras to experiment and test and look at. And honestly, 2 channels can get me by a lot of stuff. If I need to, I can compare. It might slow me down if I need to look 3 or 4 channels, because I might have to compare the other 2 signals with the one reference signal. But I wanted all the bonus things without breaking the bank, which kind of already did. Anyway, these probes actually look pretty nice, and wow. Okay. This is interesting. I don't know if I was expecting this. It has a little metal collar around here. It has the normal connections. Yeah. I don't know if you can see that. But this one has the shielded connection down inside and the pin and from my signet, and this one has those two, as well as the metal collar, which normally when you have that means that this scope is going to switch or has a sense. Well, we're going to look on the scope when we pull it out, but it has that sense pin to tell whether or not you're ×1 or ×10. Now actually, I mean, this probe has a little more heft to it than this guy. I can see that it has the calibration in this piece, where on the Signet it's in the probe tip. I've got it hooked up to a circuit back here. Take it off real quick. Okay, so there's the little calibration on this one. So this one has the capacitor up here, the filter that you have to match with your scope, and this one has it in this piece. It doesn't make one better than the other. It's just where the manufacturer wants to put it. I haven't designed a probe before, so I don't know what the trade-off is on that choice. Okay, now the probes, you know, this one's a little bit larger in diameter. They both have, I don't know if you can see that. They look pretty similar to me. Now the switch on this I really like, because you really have to loosen up after the first one, but still it still has a very positive click. Where the Signet, that's one thing about this one, is there is a positive click, but it does move fairly easy, and I do find myself, and it's not raised up real high. It's anyway, might be just me, but sometimes I move it forward in a 1x position, and I always have to remind myself to push back in 10x. This one, it feels much more positive, I think like you can hear it too. I think you'd notice if you switched it. Okay, well anyway, you know, they feel nice. The Signet, the cable actually feels a little bit more flexible, a little more pliable than these, but these feel pliable enough. Just saw something happen. That guy likes to time out if I'm not paying attention to it. Saves the display, I guess. Saves power, probably. Okay, well, so it came with probes. Power cord, of course, US. USB. That's nice. I have plenty of those, I guess, but it's always good to come with one. Then coax. That would probably be because of the frequency generator. And okay, for the multimeter, it came with the, oh, those feel kind of nice. I don't know if they're silicone or not, but they feel nice. Let's try and read it's Cat 3 probes. Okay, well, they seem nice enough. Nice sharp tips. I think these things spin off so you can change. Well, let's see what happens. Yeah, then you have the long tip if you like that better. I think they put these on because if you're probing down into a circuit, maybe it's a little safer, you're not accidentally bumping against things. I've been in the lab many a time when that has happened, with myself included, with others, and you go, there's some explicitives that come out because, you know, your circuit ends up shorted and you kill something. It's like, eeks. You know, of course it doesn't happen very often, but it happens. Okay, this must plug into multimeter jacks. Little banana type jacks back here. Nothing written on it except for on the front it says CX is less than 5 nanofarads. Okay. Huh. So I guess read capacitance under 5,000 puff. Is that right? Yeah, I'll have to look at the specs on this. Yeah, didn't really get it for the capacitor, the multimeter thing. That was something that just came along with everything else, I think. You did have options, and you know what? The options were pretty inexpensive if I remember. It's like, do you want this like Wi-Fi or something for 15 or 20 bucks? Do you want this for 40? I think the generator. Okay, so the other thing is I got, I believe, the 25 meg generator that was like $45 option, where the I think the 50 meg option was like double, or maybe a little bit more than double, or something like that. And I thought, well, you know, 25 meg, 50 meg, maybe I should have gone with the 50 meg, but maybe at that point I was getting a little cheap after signing up for everything else. So here's all the little tips and the tool for adjusting the compensation or the calibration on the scope probe. And yeah, just saying what comes in that pouch has a little spring type tip. So it's all the standard stuff that comes with scopes. Kind of shows the maximum working voltage derating curve with yeah, it has different models of the scope probes. I don't know which one I have. Yeah, I'll have to look at that a little closer. So there is a 300 megahertz option. I got the 200 megahertz option, which I don't think the 300 megahertz option came with the 12 or 14 bit. I think that was an 8-bit machine. So I wanted, like I say, I wanted those bits. I wanted to see what that vertical resolution does. And wow, this booklet is kind of nice. I mean, it's printed nice. And it seems, I'll have to read some of this if it, you know, but see if it's nice enough, but it seems like it is. It has nice, you know, nice pictures, and looks like they're explaining the different functions. Touch screen. You know, I think I looked on this online. this brings back some memories. I think I kind of paged through the online PDF version. But yeah, this has a nice paper. Okay. Oh, I did want to see what that jack was. Let me look at this real quick. Oh, so yeah, that's what I thought it was. Okay, anyway, it's an AV port. Let's pull the scope out. Let's put this stuff down. Alright, that's the way it comes packaged. We'll just take this off, and there we have it. There's our baby. Has a nice kind of solid, like dense feel, like it's heavy for the size. It feels nice. Okay, the buttons, just have to feel, these are kind of hard plastic on the Signet, and these are kind of rubberized. They kind of have a, yeah, I don't know if that makes any difference. I'm just wondering if the rubberized ones get dirty faster. But anyway, they have nice indents, or detents. It's detents, right? Yeah, the Signet has some nice ones too. And then the ones up here, of course, these are more, you know, variable versus, I mean, they control the vertical and the horizontal positions and so on, like the trigger position. So those do not have the detents, which you wouldn't expect them to. And the multi-purpose knob does not either. You wouldn't expect that to either. Knobs, nice silicone feel. They feel nice and solid. Positive click. Let's see. Yeah, they feel very similar to the Signet. I turned something on here. Oh, the reference. Oh, I turned on the math too. It's funny when you start pushing buttons. Yikes. Oh, well here, let's just look at the feet. Okay, that's a big old solid foot that comes out, the front foot. that feels pretty solid. Now the back feet, they're a little more, there's, you know, they're more basic. Here, I'll show you what I mean. These are just, I don't know if you can see that, but okay, it has the USB here, the LAN, looks like a monitor, 15-pin serial pin, port, and this is I think that's a monitor output, and then we have output 1, output 2. Output 2 says trigger output and pass fail. So output 1 must be the generator, I guess. Let's see if I can read that. They're both 50 ohm. And by the way, they do show that they're all tied to chassis or earth ground, which we know that, right? And by the way, here is a little screw here, so you can, if you want to just hard tie that to earth ground, you can do that too. Then here's your multimeter. Input 750 volts or 1000 volts max. 400 milliamps max up here, and a 10 amp up here. Okay, and then these are the 3 screws that come out where the battery is. You know, that's why this thing feels so heavy. I kind of forget I have a battery in there, because I can feel the weight of that. I mean, it's not like it's super heavy, but it's definitely got some girth to it. But yeah, okay. Just to compare the feet, these kind of pop out. They work fine, but they're kind of thin. They're not as thick and solid as the Owon. But on the back, it has this more girthy, rubberized thing. As you tilt it up or sit it flat, it can sit anywhere, you know, angle you want. Those feel kind of girthy to me. But Owon also has some weight to it. I mean, I'm sorry, the Siglet, it's not a lightweight scope. I mean, well, you know, it's not super light. Yeah. Whew. Okay, and the calibration stuff. 5 volts square wave. Output 1, this is the generator. Output 1, output 2. It's right in front of the connectors here. And then all these other things are just standard buttons. Menu off, I like that. Decode, print, and default. And there's a copy button. But I like the multi-purpose. I like this. I like the larger knob and the arrows on the side. Huh. I want to power this up and give it a go. I'm going to do that in another video. Just want to open this guy up and show it to you. Up here it says 200 meg, 1 gig a sample per second. It says 14-bit high resolution. And the AFG generator is 25 meg. And by the way, that's a 14-bit generator. So it's, you know, it's no slack. I'm going to compare it to the Siglet. I haven't really compared the specs yet, but I will, and I'll just kind of let you know what that is. It says 125 megasamples per second for the generator, and that's what this guy says, 125. So, this guy's at 10 megahertz. This guy's 25. Wow. I'm wondering if this generator, now, you know, this display and the layout, it's all specifically designed around the generator, so it's very easy to use. But who knows, maybe the screen on the, you know, on this thing will make this one just as easy. I don't know. That's when the video is to come, right? Okay, hey, thanks for watching, guys. Give me a thumbs up if you like this and you want to see more with this scope. I'm gonna not put this way. I really do enjoy the Siglet, and it's a 200 meg scope bandwidth as well. 1 gig sample per second. You know, so that part of the scope is very similar. This one has deep memory too, not as deep as this guy. I think this one's 14 meg, and this one's 40 meg, right? So yeah, impressive specs. Okay, Hey, thanks. Thanks for watching. Alright, I just want to bring this up nice and close so you can see it. Now, one thing I wanted to point out, when we looked at the scope probes, they have that little metal tab, that little metal collar. Let me pull this probe over here real quick if I can free it up. So they have this little metal dude right here, and that looks like it's gonna mate with a little metal collar around the inside. So that to me looks like a scope 1x 10x detect, so it'll automatically switch. That'll be really cool. I wasn't expecting that. On the Tektronix scopes back in the day, it was always cool when you got the higher end scopes and the higher end scope probes, you know, and their probes cost, you know, $200 that did that. They had the little pin on them that would mate with their little collar here. So it was never an inexpensive thing. You always found that on the better scopes. And even today that's true. The lower end scopes, the Tektronix and Keysight and Roden Schwartz, I think you have to spend a couple, $2 or $3 grand, maybe even $5 grand before you get a scope that has those things. So yeah, I believe this scope's gonna kick the butt out of it's probably scaring those guys. I mean, it has a nice feel, and I like the knobs, I like everything. I've seen a lot of good reviews, and I've seen one or two where people make fun of the Chinese scopes, but I'm really enjoying them right now. But anyway, you know, for the price. Now, there's also kind of a cool feature how these guys are, this is curved, and I think that is just an ingenious way to put the vents on the back. Most of the scopes you'll find them like on my Signet on the side, but they're trying to make this so it doesn't take much bench room, I guess. And so, but they don't allow you to block the fans. So that, I'm pretty sure that's why it's curved. That's what makes sense. And I think that's kind of a neat deal. So there's your, you know, your meter mates, your power, your plugs down along the bottom. Just want to let you get a closer look at them. Here's those little connectors. Yeah, you know, I'm really excited about this scope. I can't wait to plug it in. I was super excited about my Signet, and it's been everything I wanted. And I'm maybe my hopes are high these days that these Chinese scopes. Oh, and these do all push in. Okay, we'll see if that works. But they do all have that option as well, it looks like. But wow. Again, as far as the knobs go, you have separate controls for the channels, which is something I really like. And I've had the ones at work where you have to, you know, the Tektronix where you have 4 channels and you have to select which channel. And it's always just kind of a pain, I find, on some of my tech scopes. What I find, and I'm sure it's true on some, you know, other scopes, a lot of these digital ones where they offer so many features, is you end up having to go through menus. Like, oh, it's really cool that we, through software, we can control all the channels with one set of knobs. Well, I don't think that's so cool when you're sitting at the bench and you're just trying to work. So I really like the separate controls. Anyway, that's what it looks like. Okay, there's a little curve. Nice feel to it. You know, when I put these on the lower bench, I use the feet to prop up, but when I put them up on a shelf closer to my, you know, face, then I keep it square. That's just me, but I can feel the rubber on these. Again, the Signet feels like the rubber part was a little bit more girthy. I liked that better, but you know, hey, does it matter that much? I don't know, we'll find out. Okay, thanks guys. Just wanted to show you this. By the way, give me that thumbs up, that helps me. If you like these videos, and we're gonna get to doing our Class D amplifier, or Class T, next video. Thanks.